It's going to be an exciting year, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, feel the players feel the same way. So, with that, I'll say if there's any question.
Dell said this team's going to look different. Look different. How do you will it play differently?
I'm not real sure if it'll play differently. The one thing I think that we tried to, the additions that we added, we tried to make sure that we were getting two-way players from the standpoint of being good offensive players as well as good defensive players. So I think from that standpoint, we tried to add consistency in what we were doing. So I think if you're talking about playing differently, then I think the fact that we're going to try to be more consistent in what we were doing would be the difference, I think.
What was your reaction when you heard about the news about Drew and his wife?
Well, first of all, there's a sadness because of the situation. I mean, that's a very difficult situation to deal with, especially at that age. They're two great people, two great athletes, and understanding what they were going through, it was really tough. But I will say this, that if you had to choose a person to be able to deal with this and go through it, it would be Lauren Holiday. She's a very, very tough individual. And, I think, having Drew there for support is very important. And, in our case, we told Drew, forget about the basketball part of it. This is where you take care of your family. And we're going to welcome him back whenever he feels that it's time to come back, and his family is in good hands. So to me, that's the most important thing, is that, whenever he feels like things are okay there and that he can come back to our team, then we'll welcome him back with open arms.
Obviously, the situation is bigger than basketball, but how much of the additions you got made during the offseason kind of help prepare for an extended absence without Drew?
Well, we didn't anticipate an extended absence. I think he's as healthy as he's ever been in his life, really, from the standpoint of where he is now. But, when you put together a team, you put together a team where when things like this happen, you hope that you can have guys step in and, and raise their level of play. So we like the guys that we signed. Obviously, we like Buddy, our draft choice. We think those guys are going to be able to step in and help us in a lot of situations, and we're going to try to hold down the fort until Drew get back.
So last year, Anthony's numbers across the board were a little bit down. Do you think that the roster that you've assembled around him are going to give him easier opportunities to score, and even if the numbers don't go up as far as scoring wise, that you just put him in a better position to perform?
I thought he had a great year last year. When you say numbers are down, when your numbers go down less than a half a point and a half a rebound, or a third of a rebound, or whatever it was, in a lot of situations, when you do like he did and you play in a game and something happens and all of a sudden, you end up playing 12 minutes in that game, your numbers are going to go down a little bit. I think the thing that I admire most about him is that he came out every night and tried, even in situations where there was injuries and he was going through a tough time. He went out on the floor and tried. He did not let that affect. And in some instances in this league, players won't do that, because it does affect their numbers. But I thought he had a great year. I think he'll have even a better year this year. We appreciate who he is, and he plays with reckless abandon to win games. He's not afraid of taking chances as far as getting hurt to save one possession of the ball, and I think as long as he's playing that way, I'm happy with him.
The injuries obviously struck early last year. Is there anything from that experience you're applying to this season in regard to not having a few guys available?
Well, I think what you do is that you have a team, and we have guys, and we're going to coach based on the guys that we have there. Obviously, with the anticipation of getting some guys back that can also help our team. But when I go into the year and the coaching staff, when we go into the year, we're going to coach the guys that are available to us, and that's what we're paid to do. And you look at it from the standpoint of this is who we have, and as you get guys back, that's a luxury that you have. But we don't base anything on anticipating when and who and how they're coming back. I don't have really any concern about him. I mean, it's an injury that, obviously it's a time thing. It's not anything that you can rush back. I think he's doing everything he can as far as rehab. He wants to be back out on the floor. So from our standpoint, we just got to be smart about it and let the rehab happen. And when he's available, he'll join our team.
When you have Quincy out, you have Tyreek out, you have Drew sidelined for however long, how does that change the way you evaluate the guys who are in camp because they won't be playing with guys who you expect to play big minutes for you during the regular season?
Well, I think in camp you either play or you don't play. It doesn't matter if those guys are out there or not. I mean, obviously we would love to have those guys out there. Are integral parts of our team, but you judge everyone individually, I think. So we have some guys that's coming into camp, some guys that obviously we signed as free agents. We expect for them to step up and play at the level that we anticipated them doing when we signed them, and so it doesn't have much of an effect on what our injured guys are. We're just going to judge them based on what they do on the court.
What have you seen from Anthony in terms of his leadership, his vocal leadership continuing to grow in the past year and a half or so?
Well, I think that he realizes more so than anything now that this is his team, and that he's the leader of this team. I think people, all the players accept him as that. I think that, I told everyone last year, you're talking about a 23-year-old kid that you want to be the leader of the team, and I think he's grown so much over the summer. I think that he's more of a vocal leader now. We have conversations all the time, and we text back and forth all the time over the summer from the standpoint of leadership-wise, what he should try to do and how he should try to advance in that area right there. I think he's really done a good job, especially with the new guys, and just done a good job, I think, of taking the next step as far as being a vocal leader and just a leader on this team.
Alvin, when you look at how the season went for you last year, going towards the end, you're going through the offseason and having to make some changes personnel-wise. Did there ever come a point when you first got in the offseason and you said, you looked at what you had and said, this is just not going to work. We have to find another way to go about it. Was it kind of like, not a disgusting situation, but just like,
Well, I mean, obviously, we were playing last year with a totally depleted team by the end of the season. We were signing guys from the D League, and they were coming in and, getting to the arena at 6 and playing in a game that started at 7. And that's just part of it. I thought that talent-wise, we had a team that was very, very capable. If it was a healthy team, obviously it was a team that had made the playoffs last year. And when I was at Golden State, it was a team that, although the series was 1-4-0, it could have easily been a series where, it was tied 2-2 with 4 games. So that team, we felt really good about. Injuries are kind of a part of it, so you can do one or two things. You can whine about it, or you can say, this is what we have, and okay, so what are we going to do about it, and how are we going to try to restructure this team so that it can be competitive. I thought the guys played extremely hard. I was happy with the effort that we got from guys like, Tim Frazier and, among other guys that we signed. And I thought they did a good job. And as long as players on the floor are playing with the kind of effort that the coach wants and trying to do everything that they can, I think that's what you have to do in those situations.
I know last year when you came in, Pelicans were one of the hot teams. You coming from Golden State, them coming off the playoff berth, and expectations were sky high and derailed by injuries. This year, maybe, I guess, national expectations are a little more tempered. Is that a good thing, and can you even use that maybe as motivation to your team to say, you're not expecting anything of us, let's prove them wrong?
Yeah. I think Fletcher, as a coach, I think what you try to do is that you try to get your guys to play at the highest level that they possibly can. And I think, going into any season, obviously everybody are very optimistic at the start of the season. But to me, I think the message this year is that, number one, we have to play blue-collar desperate is what I call it. And number two, we got to be the best conditioned team. And then third, we got to play unselfishly. And so those are the three main goals that we have this year starting the season, and it has to start from day one. And, as we plug in guys according to that, and then obviously as guys come back, some very good players. I thought at the end of last year, Drew Holiday was probably playing as well as any guard in the league. And unfortunate, what happened in the New York game that he missed the remainder of the season. But, so when you get guys back like that with the team playing at a very high level, it can be a plus in that those guys have already gotten time on the court. So what it does is that it makes you that much deeper as a team, I think.
If I could follow up.
Yeah.
Do you like maybe going from, I don't know if anybody would have ever said 7 seconds or less in the glitz and glam of that would be described as blue collar, what did you say, blue collar?
Blue collar desperate, yeah. I think we got to play that way.
Is that different for you, maybe? Is that like
No, I think there's a little misunderstanding there because I think that is the way Golden State plays. They have a lot of fanfare in their game, but they're dirt workers. They're blue collar guys that are very good defensively and share the ball offensively, and that's the goal of every coach, I think, to be able to play at a real high level defensively and know that you're going to share the ball and be unselfishly. That's probably the most successful teams. If you look at Cleveland, they were pretty much the same way.
Could you see yourself using a lot more smaller lineups? How do you go with that? Do you judge it on what? When do you go with a smaller lineup?
Oh, I think there'll be times where you play a smaller lineup. It obviously depending on the opponent and the game situation, but we really want to raise the level of play as far as the tempo of it, a whole nother level. And in order to do that, we have to be in great shape. And so, conditioning wise, also, we have guys that are very versatile. How we have versatility. When you look at the guys that we signed and some of the guys we got coming back. So a lot of that would dictate, the situation or the opponent that we're playing against.
Does that mean that there could be some minutes with Anthony at the 5 in a smaller lineup? And then also, as another question, just you've been around teams that have been on the verge before, teams that were ascending. What's your gut feeling about where this team is in its development?
The first question, Anthony will play some 5. I think it gives us a huge advantage sometime when we're not playing the overpowering centers in this league. So he will play some 5. As far as the other one, I think we're a team that we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I'll put it that way because I think with the additions that we sign. We also sign guys that we're not just two-way players, but we also sign guys that play with a lot of grit, I think, add a toughness to our team that maybe we were missing last year. So I think any time that you can do that, you feel like your team have an opportunity. And I think as a coach, all you want is that you want to have your guys play at a level where you give yourself an opportunity to win the game night in and night out. And the only way you can do that is that you have to be good defensively and you have to be able to share the ball, and obviously you have to be able to make some shots. And I think we got guys that are capable of that.
What do you hope to get from O'Neal this season?
I think, from a conditioning standpoint and where he is physically right now, probably as good as he's been in the last 2 or 3 years. So, obviously we hadn't seen him play a lot, but I think he's in a really good place right now. And I think as long as that's the case, he'll be able to contribute and do some things for our team. The thing about O'Meara is like, for whatever reason, and you can take it for what it's worth, but, he's been on a playoff team every year except last year.
What are your thoughts about just the protests happening
We addressed that already, and I mean, obviously, everyone have a right to, to approach it like they anticipated. We talked about it collectively as a team. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion, is that I would like to see teams do something tangible, as a group to try to improve the situation. And I think that's by, you can do it by reaching out to the police department, reaching out to community leaders, trying to bridge the gap there, because we do have a voice. Excuse me, we do have a voice, and I think it's something obviously that's out there right now, and I think the more we can do to try to patch that up, the relationship-wise of the community and the police department, we should be involved in it any way we can. And the one thing about it is that, the Bensons are, Mrs. and Mrs. Benson, they're great community people. Everybody in here knows that, and I think they're willing to do anything in this community, especially to try to bridge the gap anyway. So anything that we would be willing to do, I know that they would back it 100%.
Alvin, if a player wants to take a knee or sit, will you allow it? Will you all do something together as a team?
We spoke about being unified as a team. I think that's the most important part of it. So I think we discussed that and handled that in the locker room.
Rookies are tough in this league on rookies sometimes. What's your vision for Buddy?
I think Buddy is going to be a typical rookie. There's going to be nights where he plays extremely well. There's going to be nights where he struggled, but that's no different than any other rookie in this league the last, 50 years or so. Even LeBron had his moments. So he's an extremely, extremely hardworking kid. I can't see how, when you have the talent level that he has and he's worked as hard as he has, that you won't be successful. So I think it's going to be a learning curve, as it is with any rookie, but I anticipate him being a very good player in this league.
With Drew out, do you have an idea yet, or what you're going to do with the first unit in terms of point guard?
No, I haven't, and I think that will kind of take care of itself. We'll do a lot of switching lineups and putting guys in different situations and different positions, but we'll come to a conclusion as a coaching staff, and I think what you will see is that you'll see a lot of versatility in the way we play, and I think because we have those kind of players, the guys that we sign and the guys that we have coming back, and the guys that eventually get healthy, we'll have a lot of versatility in there. Like I remember Quincy Pondexter guarding Steph Curry in the playoffs. So as we get guys back like Quincy and Tyreek and guys like that, our team will be that much more versatile. But we'll find a way to plug in until that happens.
I know it's kind of out of your control, but do you feel like you have to manage the expectations with Buddy and being a top pick, 6th pick overall?
I think that's common. That's common with anybody. You're the top 10 pick. They expect all of these things out of you. But I think in all of those cases, as a coach, you have to try to temper that a little bit and understand that he will be a very good player in this league, but he will have growing pains. I think that's the thing that everyone has to realize. And if you look back at the rookies last year or the year before, or like I said, all the way back, there are situations where you have to learn more about this game, and you have to play it, and you have to adjust to the speed of the game and so many other things like that. So he's going to work hard, and he's going to do that, but it will be a situation where he's going to have growing pains.
Are those necessary to the growth process, those growing?
I don't know if it's necessary. It's just the way this league is. There's no one that have kind of stepped in and right from the start as a rookie didn't find a situation where he had to grow. The great players, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, you go back and look at their rookie years or their first few years in the league, and you can keep naming guy after guy after guy, and they all had to have this adjustment before they became the players that they are right now.
You anticipate Anthony Davis playing in preseason games?
Yeah, I do. I don't know how much. He's not going to be a guy that's going to play extended minutes because to me, our goal is that we want to be in the best shape that we can possibly be in from a health standpoint, come opening night.
Is he limited to start with? Like, what is he able to do right now?
He can do just about everything, but I think from a coaching standpoint, we have to be smart about it, so like I said, I don't anticipate him being 30 minutes in preseason games, if that's what you mean.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate